Good.
Sir, can we start?
Yes, we should.
Yeah. I think it's good to see you. Good morning, everybody. It's good to see you. We are about 25, 27 minutes late perhaps because of technology challenges and also some link issues. Good to see a lot of senior colleagues from the industry joining us for this important webinar. To start the webinar, I request Dr. Manjunatha from ICI, Bangalore Chapter President, who is actually instrumental in getting this entire webinar series on ground. Now, he has been, from day one, he's been pushing right from when the lockdown started. He was the first one I can remember that he pushed for it along with Dr. Aswath. I request Dr. Manjunath to say a few words. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm traveling, so I'm not able to spend much time. See many eminent consultants on the platform today. It's a discussion on the Restart 2.0. So this Corona pandemic also restarted with that, you have to be more careful in the construction industry. Over to the speakers to deliberate and over Madhukar to take it forward. So I welcome all the speakers and also all the attendees for the program. Thank you.
I would thank you, Dr. Manjunatha. Without much ado, I would like to continue and introduce our esteemed speaker for today. For the purpose of paucity of time, I'll be keeping the introduction as brief as possible. Perhaps they're also pretty well known in the industry. Starting with Mr. Gururaj. Mr. Gururaj has more than 50 years of experience in the construction industry. He was founder, director of Potential Service Consultants, the Bangalore-based design firm. And currently he is managing director, chairman of Innotech Engineering Consult Private Limited, a Bangalore-based consulting organization with pan-India operations. Sir Gururaj, sir, please welcome. Welcome to the webinar. Next on the list I'll be talking briefly about Mr. Shashidhar. Mr. Shashidhar is a civil engineer from Bangalore University. He graduated in 1978 and he is the head of Secon Construction Private Limited, a Bangalore-based Secon Engineers Private Limited, a Bangalore-based construction firm with more than 30 years of experience. He also has worked in Iraq and other places. I welcome Mr. Shashidhar for this program.
Thank you, Mr. Madhukar.
Sir, welcome. Next on our eminent list of speakers today is Mr. A.T. Samuel, a well-known figure in the consulting industry, both in Bangalore, Mumbai, and all over India. He served in Tata Consulting Engineers, and after that he joined Stoop Consultants Private Limited, where he is a director of the firm since 2009. He has been instrumental in designing many landmark buildings and infrastructure projects. It's my privilege to welcome all three of them to this.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome, sir. The next eminent speaker today is Dr. M.U. Aswath. Perhaps the most recognized face of ICI, ACCE and Instruct and all the other professional bodies in India. I think he's done wonderfully well in the last 2 decades, leading all these institutions. Besides, excelling in his career, he is the principal of Bangalore Institute of Technology, a college that he himself graduated more than 30 years ago. Besides being a Senate member and very actively involved in Engineers Bill and other activities, Dr. Aswath also brings excellent teaching practices and always at the forefront of construction industry. I welcome Dr. Aswath.
Thank you,
Dr. Aswath, sir. Please welcome. Thank you, sir. Thank you for making your time to come and attend this program organized by ICI. I would like to go on to talk about today's topic, the relevance of today's topic when we were discussing about what next, for the industry. Dr. Manjunatha, came up with this idea of why can't we get our eminent engineers and eminent professionals from our industry to talk to our fellow fraternity members and engineers about what is going on now. To the day, today is 23rd December. Coincidentally, on 24th March this year, to the day, about 9 months, the lockdown in India was declared, and we have seen changes that we would never have imagined. Most of us, correct me if I'm wrong, I think none of us in our lifetime have seen this. So obviously, this has brought a huge amount of disruption to the industry, a huge amount of suffering, huge amount of disruption to the practices, everyday life. Our industry, being one of the largest employers in the country, has also got its fair share of changes, which are being adopted as we talk. Um, my first question would be to the speakers today. Sirs, when you first heard of the pandemic and the impact, what were your first thoughts on your particular business as such, or your company as such, and then your fellow colleagues, your fellow professionals, and the industry? I would like to ask Mr. Gururaj on this. Sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Madhukar, for introduction, and thank you for ICI for having given us this opportunity to express ourselves in this difficult situation in the market. And welcome to all the delegates and also the other panelists. Your question, of course, is very relevant. And when we started off with the introduction of lockdown, we never thought it is going to be such a long journey. That is for sure. Secondly, the way in which the lockdown has been forced to the industry as well as the nation, it is a new experience for all of us. It is new because it has got nothing to do with the financial stability of the companies at that particular point of time, or due to any other thing other than the concern of the person from the health point of view, or from the anxiety point of view, or the fear point of view of what the virus can do in a matter of days. That was the problem. And going forward, I think probably we have learned to live with that. We have learned to move on with the situation what we are in. And we see that there are some positives going on, which probably I'll tackle it further when the other questions come up. I think to answer your question clearly, that it was not at all a incident in the life of anybody that we can expect this to happen in the course of time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think the health concern is fundamental. I think that is what is more important. I think talking about the issues, Mr. Shashidhar, what is your view on initial reactions? Your initial reactions on this pandemic and your company?
Good morning to one and all, and thanks for the Indian Concrete Institute for having given this opportunity. And the moment we heard about COVID, we thought it is somewhere in Wuhan, China. Let us see what happens to India. It's far away. And in no time, it was here. And the whole world got engulfed in that. Our immediate response was, one is shutting down this empire suddenly due to lockdown. Second is how to keep our people safe. That was more thing. Next is maintaining the minimum requirements for the whole team. We had some 1,800 workers in different camps around Bangalore. So feeding them, maintaining them during lockdown, and seeing that their health is better was a big challenge. And the after effects of it, it took some time for us to really analyze and come but we immediately set up a core team in our office and who had special passes for the service department so that we could go to the sites, we could see our camps, and we could see that the food what we had ordered was correctly done, and entire security was geared up. Additional people who are engineers or storekeepers took up the job for security at sites and well-being of our workers. And regular, wherever we are tied up with hospitals, we ensured that the doctor visits at least once a week and checks them. So all these precautions we took care, and we saw that there was no problem for food and maintaining their day-to-day lives in this lockdown period or in this shut-off period.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Immediate
I can
reaction.
understand. I can understand. With 1,800 workers, one is their, taking care of their basic needs like food and shelter, but most importantly, taking care of their health. Making them aware of the social distancing and to keep them safe and healthy must have been a pretty big challenge for you. Mr. Samuel, what is your first thoughts on this epidemic?
Well, when I heard this first time, we had a slight thinking or understanding that it was coming maybe a week earlier. So my initial reaction was, okay, after a long time we are going to have some break. So we allowed all the senior people, or we made the senior people take all their hardware, software to their homes so that they can be available. So we thought we will have a sort of shutdown. So my initial understanding was, 3 into 15, 45 days time, we will get back. But very soon after 15 days of into the lockdown, we realized it is going to be a long drawn affair. So immediately we regrouped ourselves in the corporate office and all the branch heads, and we quickly put a mechanism to a protocol, a standard operating process for the ensuring safety of the people, as well as to ensure some minimum delivery. And we also organized hardware, software, additional meeting softwares, checking softwares, everything were put in place. And it has been, we never thought it is going to be this long.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Hardware, software, I think we will talk about it for a little bit later, because our industry, insofar as cybersecurity and automation, etc., is concerned, I believe we are laggards in terms of other industries. So we will talk about this more in detail in subsequent questions. Dr. Ashwath, what is your view on your initial reaction? You were heading one of the biggest colleges in Bangalore.
Yeah, as far as the
And
academics is concerned, all of us are shocked, in fact, because without students, there is no life in the institution. So it is completely shock for all of us, and the lockdowns and extended lockdowns made a lot of impact, and the safety of all the student communities at our front, and taking care of all of them during that period. And in fact, even the faculty after the lockdown and during the lockdown, taking care of them is a major concern. And once we received all the standard operating procedures from the government and MHRD and all the competent authorities, then we adopted that immediately in all our campuses, and giving confidence to the student community was the major concern. In fact, in our institute, we have a system of mentoring the students. All the students were divided, 20 students were allotted to every faculty, and every faculty started interacting, calling them personally, and finding out their whereabouts, and giving them confidence, and consoling them. That was the major job that we did during the initial period. And the second one is how to take care of the academics and the planning for their academics. That was the immediate concern. And none of our, except very few faculty, others were not exposed to this online teaching practices. So we were very new to all the online platforms. We our faculty were exposed to all the online platforms, and then some trainings were organized, and started teaching the student community through the online modes. So that was one major aspect. As far as the Association of Consulting Civil Engineers and other professional bodies are concerned, again, talking to all the members of the association, professional members of the association, giving them motivation, and organizing food and other immediate necessaries for the labor force was the major concern during that period, because everybody started moving without any safety measures, and we encouraged all our various centers across the country to assist the construction workforce and give them support. In fact, I'm very happy to mention here both ICI as well as the SSCE centers took up very immediately and assisted in their capacities, helping the workforce at various places. In fact, they've also mobilized some funds to the Chief Minister and Prime Minister funds. In fact, many of our associations joined hands with other NGOs and took a lot of initiatives. So it was a shocking for all of us. In fact, not only a education industry, but the construction industry was hit majorly. And I'm sure now we have understood how to manage this, and now confident. The industry bodies are also confident in taking the industry to the next level.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Uh, Four people, four different opinions, four different approaches to the pandemic and with the common pandemic. So, it just goes to tell us all that the solutions are many, several, and the stakeholders are quite different, and it has to be managed independently. The next question that we have is more particularly to Dr. Ashwath and also to Mr. Gururaj on this pandemic. Do you think that the industry or the government could have done better in helping reaching out to our fraternity, especially construction industry, in this pandemic? Dr. Ashwath, you are in the forefront of activism. You take care of a lot of issues related to our
I think
industry.
I should appreciate all the government bodies. They have done a great job during this period. In fact, everybody is under shock, and there was no plan in place. So it was a sudden shock to all of us. As Shashidhar mentioned, we saw some images of China and Wuhan and other places, and we always thought it will not come to us. That was the idea, because when some similar things happened elsewhere in South Africa or other places where connected to flu and other things, we just heard and we ignored, because we never experienced. So this is the first time that Indians experienced this pandemic, and it is directly hit all of us personally. So the government also not envisaged this kind of impact, and suddenly all the machinery came in place, and they did their best. In fact, I know one simple initiative by the government and others, collaborated efforts, like step one. All the doctors, volunteers, and the government machinery collaborated together and started taking care of the COVID positive patients, and giving motivation separately, and organizing. In fact, BBMP was recognized as the one of the best managing center, risk management center. So they did their best, and in fact, all the professional bodies also reacted very positively, and gave all the support to the government in managing this issue. I know the construction industry is a huge labor force, and other industries also. The daily wage workers or the unorganized sector labor force was a major task for
Mr. Pasha, please mute other attendees. Thank you.
was a major
Yeah, sir.
task for handling them. And since the numbers are huge, sometimes it was uncontrollable, because the psychology also came into picture, and many people were not listening to the instructions and guidelines. So handling that kind of a situation, the mob management was not done very effectively. Many of them, they have not listened to anything, anybody, and they started moving, walking miles together to reach their hometowns. So that was one area where it was not properly managed. Maybe I don't know, with machinery, government machinery, they could have managed that. But except that, all other aspects, I think government has managed very well, and all the professional bodies and professional non-governmental organizations, they have done their great service. And this is one time where we experienced the togetherness and concern for the society by each and everyone without any distinction.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for your candid views on the matter. Mr. Gururaj, your views on the subject. You think the professional bodies and the government could have done more, or have they done their best? What we could.
Yeah, I think I'm in line with whatever Mr. Ashwath has, endorsed the views. As far as the government is considered, they can do what they can do, but it is the people who have to control everything, because it is in their hands to control their health, etc., based on what are the instructions given by the government. Okay. Uh, Whereas in the case of the mob, which was in a panic situation at the time of the beginning of the pandemic, I think that could have been done better, uh, both by the employers, as well as the community as such, because there was no plan as how to go around and do it. Probably a little bit of more warning in terms of giving it some time before it is the lockdown was brought into effect would have been a more effective way. And secondly, instructing the people to say this is a long drawn process, so you want to go back to your places, please go back, give some time for doing that, because at that particular point of time the pandemic has still not entrenched into the Indian continent. So these are the two things. Afterwards, of course, we have to thank all the professionals who are involved in it, medical as well as the other administrative, uh, uh, administrative team, who has made this possible to control and bring it to a level where I think you can breathe. Okay, but the pandemic is not so alarming as it was during probably a couple of months back. So they have brought down the conditions, but then it all depends upon individuals who follow the practice, who very distinctly make it successful because of their following it in totality. That is not happening, and that is where I think probably could be spurred in some more cases which could come over in the next few months. So as far as the government is considered, they have done their best. I think probably they have taken a lot of efforts to come to terms to do these kind of unknown factors, which I think there is no solution immediately, and I appreciate that point of view.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think to sum up the past, I think all of us together, along with the government, the medical professionals, paramedics, have done wonderfully well, knowing the very diverse nature of our country. It is extremely different in terms of terrain, the socio-cultural background, the economy, the education level, so many things. It's so different. That being the case, I think we have done wonderfully well for ourselves as an industry, as a fraternity. I think we have reacted well. We have taken affirmative actions to protect ourselves, our industry, our people, our fellow professionals. I think moving forward, I think the second part of our discussion today. Yeah.
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Speaker, I just have one point on this subject only.
Yes, sir. Tell me, sir.
Mainly, as I agree with Mr. Gururaj and Mr. Ashwath, government did remarkably well, especially the labor department were very proactive. So many times I have received calls directly from them. What help can we do? How many people are having? But only one thing which could not have, they didn't foresee was to send these laborers before the lockdown to their hometowns. That became a major confusion. Subsequent to lifting of the lockdown, there was a sudden, that free train service to all the states. So in spite of lifting the lockdown, our labor strength came down drastically to hardly 30% what I was maintaining during the lockdown. So when we had a time to restart, there was no labor because they were being pushed out of their camps to their hometowns by the labor department and the police department. If at all this action had come prior to the lockdown, it would have worked out much better. But we can't blame
Absolutely.
anybody. As you say, it is a sudden thing what happened. And none of us were prepared for it.
Correct. I think that lack of preparation, it came like a, lightning from the bolt from the blue, they call it. So I agree with all of you. I think now from the talk of what happened to what we are currently, we move to the second stage of this discussion today, where we talk about things like work from home, remote working, collaboration. We also talk about network, cybersecurity, issues related to collaborative tools, enterprise technology, BIM, So a lot of this has some impact on us. What do you think are some permanent changes that have happened due to COVID, whether we like it or not, whether it's positive, negative? At least some of you must have moved some of your workers to work from home kind of a situation, or some of them have permanently been put on a work from home. What is your experience, sir, currently after taking charge of this 9 months on these issues? Have you done some automation in your processes? Can we talk about that?
The question is to
Maybe
whom?
Samuel, sir.
Yeah.
All of you. This question is to all of you, sir. You can start.
Yeah. The moment we realized that it is going to be a long drawn affair, as I said before, so we put a standard operating procedure because we are so much concerned about the safety of the people. Because unlike an European country, we don't have any social security program. So people are very, will find it extremely difficult. And we also had a fixed scale, fixed pay and variable pay because, managing costs, we have 1,500 staff with us. So our income depleted and our cost is remaining more or less same. So we set a fixed and variable scale. So in case we make good the total collection, the variable pay will be paid at the end of the year. So that's a model we are working. And we also moved everybody to work from home, excepting a skeleton staff of 10% of the people in the office who are less than 40 years and who have all been advised, they have been given very strict rules. Like none of our staff members are allowed to use the public transport. They should use their own transport. And only in our Bangalore office, got 120 odd people, but in the office there are only 12 people there. So there were some people who weren't paying us accommodation. So we had a separate accommodation. We set up a kitchen for them, so their safety is ensured. We also ensured that all this communication within the company will go only through the company email domain. So we're not allowed to use a Gmail or a Hotmail domain, and we put in a mechanism, and there we also set a regular weekly review and how the drawings will be made, how it will be checked, and what is the mechanism. Like design office, you have process of making, checking, approving. We really made it happen even in the work from home platform. And we also put our HR people to monitor whether people are making reasonable, money lost is money lost. If the people in a month, if they're not produced at least about 75% of what we would have produced, then the company will sink. And it will be a permanent damage the finances of the company. So it became a large burden on the senior staff to ensure all this. Of course, we got in contact with the clients, and clients were also very cooperative, and they appreciated the difficulties which you are facing. And the mechanism has been put in place. 90% of our staff, including junior draftsmen, junior staff, work from home, and we propose to do the same model at least till 31st March. So that is our thinking. And all the mechanism to protect the document data transfer or that leakage of data has been put in place, and even the risk management has been reasonably done.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Aswath.
Can I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Madhukar. This is
Yeah, sir, can we take the questions to the end? Now, can we have the
It was just a quick to Mr. Samuel.
Okay.
See, there is a confusion in the employees who are working from home. Actually, they are having support, immense support at if they are working at in office. They are having all support because all employees are not such intelligent or such a performer that they need some support, back support from to work on day-to-day activities. What is your views on that, please?
Correct. So Devji, thanks for the very relevant question. I think the tech savviness is what is a concern. Not all of us are trained or equipped to deal with this sudden change from the hard copy kind of a thing to a virtual or a digital thing. So yes, very relevant question, Samuel sir.
So yeah, it is true. So what we have done in our company, that every group we have given them a meeting, what do you call meeting software that they can set up their own meeting. It does not even need to go through the IT department. Then, as Mr. Singh said, we whenever things are difficult, then there is a face-to-face meeting in the office, maybe once in 10 days, once in 15 days, depending on the project demand, and it has been required. We found that most projects we need a face-to-face meeting, so that's what we have done to manage the delivery.
Any specific training as such on digitization or interface?
Yes, we had a what we call head office took care of those training.
Okay. Sir, Dr. Ashwath, sir, I think perhaps a very big disruption in the teaching student facility faculty is happened in the last 9 months.
Yeah,
What is your way forward? What do you think?
The training and preparation, as said, it applicable for every industry. In fact, education sector is connecting with the students from remote areas. The connectivity was a major issue because some of the students who are staying in far off places, connecting them was a major concern. And the examination conduction was a major concern for all the educational institutions because some elite institutions where they had good facilities and the students are well off, they managed efficiently. But all others, there was a lot of issue. Many students went to courts for cancelling the examinations, and all those things happened. In fact, we managed only for conducting the examinations only for the final semester students, 8th semester students, so that they can go out of the portals of campuses with a degree certificate, and they can look for their career. For all others, we cancelled the examinations. The one-to-one, the face offline examinations were cancelled, and we evolved. And in fact, still we are processing how to give them the grade cards based on the continuous internal evaluation and other strategies. So that was the major concern. And as Samuel mentioned, we also had several training sessions for the faculty, and many of the educational institutions, they set up their own IT cells to take care of these issues. And some of us, we also managed the outsourced softwares and some purchased softwares, and we developed some of the softwares in-house using our own faculty for managing this issue. And now we are comfortable in managing the online sessions, even conducting the examinations online. We are comfortable in conducting the internal assessments and other things through online. But it has got its own disadvantages. And parallelly, the university system also came up with blended system. Those who would like to come for the campus for doubt clearance and other things, we also conduct the contact classes and doubt clear sessions by following all the safety measures. And the laboratories, especially the shift was conducting the laboratory classes. That was a major concern. In fact, the government and other university departments, they have come together and they've created a virtual lab situations. We created all virtual laboratory experiments as they do in the lab. they can do online all the experiments. That was a major shift. And in fact, using the animations and all the IT tools, it made more interesting to learn from the student point of view. But that physical connection is still missing, and we are conducting those experiments for those students who can come with all the safety measures. But still, we are adjusting. So it will take some more time to completely shift, and definitely the integration of technological tools. We have never seen such fast adoption of tools. Whenever, as civil engineers, we always struggle to promote any new technology, any new material in the society, in the industry. But this, because of this COVID-19 situation, there was no option. As many people say, necessity is the mother of invention. So this was a necessity, and all of us completely shifted and adopted these digital technologies and online platforms, and we are comfortable now, as if we are using from years. We are using online mechanism for managing various needs of the education system. And of course, even the professional bodies also, like this, we are conducting a lot of webinars through online platforms, and we explore different tools. Many free tools are available, and some minimum packages we have taken, and we are using it very comfortably. Uh, Hope this will not go for a long time. Occasionally it is fine, but physical and interaction and learning is definitely very essential, especially for construction industry. The physical meetings are very essential. Unless we do that, getting that confidence, or till we adjust only to these online tools, we need some more time to adjust.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Shashidhar, your views. Is
No,
it
no.
going to be here to stay, work from home? What is its impact?
As a contractor, work from home doesn't work for us. Basically, people above 50 years in our organization also, we take a call to see that they have a limited exposure, and we told, come on alternate days or 2 days in a week and manage the things as far as possible on phone calls or on con calls or video calls. You manage it, get the information from the site. That is at the management level. But at the field level, people had to go and work with the workers, you maintaining all the SOPs. So to bring in the SOPs and training them was a task, for which our safety and our other counselors helped us a lot. And they too were realizing, because of all of them have a smartphone, workers. They get the feedback, what is happening in no time from their hometown, WhatsApp messages. And they too cooperated with us because they knew how bad the pandemic was. Explanation and counseling was required, but later on they followed. And also the government bodies visiting the sites, visiting the camps, making the difference. And also we set up isolation centers and other things. So these things cannot work online for us. That is the only saddest part. But of course, myself, my
I have
CEO, and other seniors, we managed from the home for some time. But of course, after maintaining these SOPs and taking the daily cares like steam inhalation and other things, now we are moving around. I am not at home anymore. I am continuously moving out and managing the things.
Sir, one question to you. It's a follow-up question. See, let us not limit our discussion only to work from home. I think this pandemic also has pushed the need for mechanization in our industry, automation or mechanization, increased mechanization, rather than from a highly labor-intensive industry that we are in. Do you see anything like that happening or happened
Yes,
already
very much.
that
Okay.
has pushed the mechanization, which is
Yes,
good
sir.
for
Now it is
our
very,
industry?
our main concentration is reducing labor dependency.
Absolutely.
For example, farm work manufacturing is happening in our shop floor only. Hardly any farm work is manufactured at site, except for lifting and erecting in place. And most of it is done by cranes now. Whether every site has a mobile crane and 2 tower cranes, 1 tower crane, depending on the necessity. And concrete, as you know, it is totally mechanized. So we are now planning on the shuttering part. As far as reinforcement, we are trying to get cut and bend only so that minimum labor can work at site for placing in position. Other than that, new systems have to come, sir. That is like steel buildings or precast buildings. So for that, we are also gearing up and we are trying to, we have put up a plant in Harovali and looking at pre-engineered buildings, not just for warehouses and such things, even for high-rise structures. Right now, we have got an order from Brigade for the World Trade Center annex building, which is with all steel plates, steel columns, and high sections. Like a pre-engineered building, we have to make the sections out of steel plates, different thicknesses, and of a special grade. So, like this, thereby dependency of bar bender is only to tie the minimum steel on top of the deck sheeting. Centering is ruled out. After finishing the basement, it is all steel structure with deck sheeting. So such buildings have to come up, and labor dependency, and this should start from the architect and structural engineer level, wherein that old type of specifications are to be changed according to the new requirements, provided the clients agree for this extra cost. But we may have no option in future. We'll have to take up this pre-engineered buildings only, wherein most of the things is done in a factory environment, rather than depending on this, what do you say, migrant labor who have to come and stay in the site and work for.
Yeah, I think I endorse work from home. As far as construction industry is concerned, we can say work from factory. That shift definitely is necessary.
Yes.
Working at site should come back to work from factory, and most of the
I
things.
think this will also eliminate a lot of built-in inefficiencies that our industry is suffering from. You know, in terms of insufficiency, in terms of quality, in terms of schedule management, you know, in terms of duplication of efforts, wastage, etc. I think the ultimate beneficiary would be our industry with the mechanization and factory-made product, you know, productization. Gururaj sir, I think in all of this, especially in PEB, tall buildings and you know, structural steel buildings that Mr. Shashidhar talked about, you being a very well-known structural consultant, what do you think is the current status on work from home, mechanization, PEB, and industrialization of our industry? You know, the factorization, if I can say the word, you know.
Yeah.
Tell me, sir.
Yeah. First of all, talking about the office, I think we have been able to transform ourselves from the, you know, in-house working to the, you know, the work from home culture to a large extent. So the way in which we transformed is that we had a lot of work which is being done on computer, because being a consulting firm, that we had to take care of this. So we had trained people who can do the work on computer, but then how to coordinate with the, you know, with the different teams. That was the point to be taken into account. So we started interacting. I think there is some confusion about somebody talking.
Mr. Pasha, please mute all the people.
Yeah. So what we did was to have some in-house meetings through different tools, so that to educate everyone how to go around and do their part of the work, whether it is engineering, whether it is drafting, whether it is BIM, or whether it is coordination. And also to interact with the architects and with the clients teams, so that when we do a project, we have the interaction taking place with all the team members, and it was focused. So with this in mind, see, what was happening is there was a focused team which was there for, say, probably about 45 minutes to 1 hour, and the project used to get all the benefit of everybody focusing on the project and coming to conclusions. This is possible because we are in the drawing part of this, design drawing part of the project, not necessarily a construction issue. So this helped a lot in the form of educating and making the people understand what are the things to be studied during the course of planning, designing, coordinating, and bringing it to a level where it can be executed, including the checking. So our office, staff, like, for everybody, what's happened during the March sudden pandemic situation. So everybody was immediately sent back to their places for seeing them that they're safe, because most of them were guests, paying guests. So they had to leave, at least about 30-40% of them. And the balance of them, they worked from home, who had the efficacy of working from home with the tools what we had, with the projects what we had to coordinate and all that. What was the difference which made is the effort of all the staff to adapt to this situation and to make it happen and not lose time over just because there is a pandemic. This is what I appreciate in our staff, who wholeheartedly supported all of us in coming out with solutions to enhance the production or enhance the workability situation of the office. Secondly,
Thank you,
as
sir.
everybody talked about it, is we also reduced the salaries. We made people understand that this is not a situation wherein we can go with the salaries what we have. We had to see the situation which can turn out to be more than 6 to 8 months or 10 months. So we reduced the salaries, and they were all okay with that. I don't know. There is any problem with the video? It is not focused.
So there are two logins from your end. One is all right. The second, now is okay.
Yeah, okay. So then coming to your next question, what is it that is going to happen in the construction industry because of this COVID? Yes, I think probably all the contractors, as Mr. Shashidhar said, all the developers, all the builders are now looking at a possibility of reducing the labor intent in the construction industry. So with this, what is happening is there is a scope for improving the construction technology, the new methods of construction, especially I'm talking about high-rise buildings, and wherein we are already into a lot of buildings which are structural steel and metal deck and concrete, with slip forming for the core walls, which will accelerate the work and which will also reduce the timelines and which will also make it more mechanized. So this is going to be the in thing for the future high-rise buildings, wherein slip forming will be one of the points which one has to consider in the form of mechanization as well as the speed. However, the steel buildings which are being built are now still a little bit expensive when compared to the normal concrete structures. So you have to do a lot of convincing between the client, the architects, and other people to see that we do this kind of buildings. Apart from the steel buildings, we are also into precast buildings, which are for offices, not only for car park, but for offices and other things, sophisticated offices, complicated offices, not necessarily a rectangular building. So the precast is also being adopted to see that there is less number of laborers at the site and more at factory where it is quality controlled and quality productions are there, and the materials are and the product is tested before it comes to the site, wherein you save a lot of time in testing the cast in situ concrete by making lot number of cubes, and sometimes it fails. Then you go back to core testing fails, then you come back and do all the retrofitting, etc. So these kind of things could be drastically reduced by doing precast construction or structural steel construction. Apart from it, I'm also looking at a time wherein we introduce robotics in construction. It is not very far off. If you look at robotics coming into the structure, especially tall buildings, steel buildings, wherein the mechanical things are done by the robots, and the safety of the people who are working at that levels are all reduced, and it is more accurate when you do use a robotic system for construction. It's going to come in the probably in the next decade. In India, we are not short of laborers. That is why we intend to have these kind of laborers, provide them the job opportunities, and make them earn their livelihood. But unfortunately, disruptions do happen, like it has happened, say, in the car industry. Now, there is a electrical car which is coming all over the place, and it is disrupting all the other industries, like petrol industry and the automotive industry, which uses this petrol. So it's going to be disrupting. It is a major change which is going to happen in future. So like that, we also will have something to do in construction industry, and it's going to happen. Say in most of the this thing, if you look at India, already there are 3 or 4 people who are opting to produce electric cars only. Volkswagen has changed its complete template. Now they are not going to produce any more petrol or diesel engines. They are going to produce only electrical cars. So these are things which are going to come, which are going to have an impact. And in the construction industry too, also this could happen, provided somebody takes the lead, somebody takes the courage to go and impress upon the clients and impress upon the construction industry. It's always being managed by people who would like to use the manpower which is available, make it workable, make it cheap. But then I think those days are gone. You are going to go in for technology rather than the labor. Thank you. This is my view.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Can
for
I
the.
add a point here?
Yes, sir. I would also like to request Dr. Aswath for a small add-on question
Yeah.
along with this same subject. See, most of us, we have spent all our lives with people, okay, whether in school, college, work, or business, etc. Dr. Ramchandra also has a small question in the chat box. He says, how can we think of not being in contact with people? Our industry people, construction industry guys, we are constantly in touch with each other, talking to them, meeting them, and all that. This is the way of life for us. It was, what do you think? He is saying that if this continues for a long time, what is the next thing?
Yeah, I just want.
You may add that. Yeah.
I just wanted to mention here, if you look at the industries, all industries, I think construction industry is the only one where we are struggling to have efficiency. Because it is not organized completely. Most of the activities are unorganized. The labor force is unorganized. So when we talk about efficiency, it is very, very difficult to quantify as far as construction industry is concerned. Now, what I see, or many of the analysts say, is it is time for the construction industry to start collaborating with the major organized players. And some of the issues we are facing very heavily is the small firms are badly hit. They don't have the strength to sustain. And the major players, they have the strength, but they're not collaborating with the smaller players. I think it is the right time to come up with a system where the people like Shashidhar and all, they can have a separate discussion with major players, and you should start accepting the smaller players in your ambit, and start giving them a kind of a licensing or a support, like franchising the units. So the smaller consultants, maybe Gururaj sir and Samuel sir can take the smaller consultants and give them a broader perspective, so that there will be a collaboration happens and partnerships happen, and still the business will happen automatically. But what they are missing, the smaller players, the bigger players can provide. That is one thing. So for doing this, I think we need to invest. The major bigger players or bigger contractors or consultants need to invest little more on digital investment, or if I can say digital investment. If they do, then these kind of partnerships and collaborations can happen. I think that is the way forward, because that is happening elsewhere. The major manufacturer will take the smaller parts from the smaller small scale industries. All small scale industries will produce and supply to the major players. They will not do all the manufacturing, whether it is automotive industry or any other industry. So such kind of an action, I think it is high time, because in civil engineering or construction industry, the talk of startup culture, the small scale industries are very less. Even the digital presence of all the construction industry, the sales is very less. So I think we need to take a shift from this to that. Then I think automatically the industry can have more efficiency and we can perform better in the days to come. The second question, Madhukar, I forgot.
The second question is on the social impact. We are always with people from our school, college days. Then we were always inclined to spend time with our people. So we kind of became part of the construction industry, which is very integral and known for personal interactions, meeting people. Unlike a software industry where you hardly get to see each other.
Yeah, I think that will
How do you
continue.
deal with that?
That will definitely continue, but the mass interactions may reduce. The smaller group interactions definitely it will have, and like in any other industry, they are not segregated. They are working together only. So that kind of interaction, social interactions, will definitely necessary, and that will only give the confidence. If you sit alone, it is like house arrest. You cannot manage, even if you have all the facilities inside the house, all the luxuries. If you don't, if you are not allowed to come into the road, then your life is miserable. It is like putting us in the jail. So that will not continue for a longer time. Even with all this pandemic or any other such pandemics, dangerous pandemics in the future, I don't know. Already the mutation of COVID-19 is already out. So many things may come, but we will also parallelly develop confidence and safety measures. With all that, we can definitely move around and do our routine activities. But the social distancing, these kind of additional nows may come into the picture. And unless we meet and express and interact, I think the whole society will get into depression. So that we are not capable of handling that depression. So already some industries, some people are getting into that mode. So the whole idea for the industry and all the bodies and all the major players like the panelists today is to give that kind of a motivation and confidence, and show them, I think this difficult time, if we can manage, the future is very bright, and we can manage very well.
Thank you, sir. I always admired you for your out of the box thinking. I think one such gem that came out of today's meeting is perhaps the talk on the collaboration. Like for example, you quoted a very good example of the automobile industry where, every car that we see, the today's non-electric vehicle, diesel or petrol vehicle, comes with about 1,000 parts. And 1,000 parts with assembly, sub-assembly, and minor parts is distributed to something like 50 or 100 companies. 50 or 100 companies form one car, which is a Toyota, it can be Honda, it can be anything. So I think his thought process, I think, is quite appropriate. Gururaj and Mr. Samuel can say on this, because 60% of our construction industry, Dr. Ramchandra has made a very valid point, 60% of our construction industry is in the retail sector or the small housing or small construction sector. And that is in turn supported by our consultant architect consortium of people, hundreds and thousands of working professionals who are small firm owners or entrepreneurs who do the projects and who do the design and implement. Is there any collaborative mechanism that you foresee in the near future with these people, the smaller organization teaming up with the larger ones with a digital platform, etc.? And before, please go ahead, sir. And Dr. Ramchandra has something to say on the matter.
Yeah, very quickly. I fully agree with Dr. Ashwath. Say civil engineering or construction is like democracy. Just as in democracy, anybody and everybody can participate, in construction industry also everybody can participate, whether he is skilled or unskilled or semi-skilled or whoever it is. And like democracy, we are also tolerant and we endure. And okay, in construction industry, sometimes, most of the time we use, sometimes we misuse, and sometimes it is abused also. To that extent, these two, democracy and construction industry, are the same. Now, coming to this point, particularly, my focus is more on the unorganized construction. Of course, on construction in projects, we have heard from the experts on what are all the things that they have done. But more than 60% of our construction in India is in the unorganized in the sense, the individual house building construction, both in the urban and rural areas. They are the most affected people in this thing, because they don't have the benefit of experts like we have today. Therefore, some of these things that have been done for these kind of people, some of these things I would share. Say, we came up during March. We never knew that this pandemic is coming. Even without knowing that, somehow there was a suggestion, and we came out with a basic mason training program, basic assistant masons training program digitally. We brought out an app, and then came the pandemic. Because we made a beginning, the beginning was made only in Hindi. But believe me, so far more than very close to 2 lakh people have registered. It is available on Android Play Store. Anybody can download. But right now, only for those who can understand Hindi, it has videos and so on. We never thought that it would become so popular. 2 lakh people have undergone that training, and they have also, I mean, at the end of that, there is a certification also. It is called as Ultratech Prashikshan Pahal. Anybody can get it from this thing. That is number one. Second thing is, we have made this do-it-yourself videos, particularly for this individual house building construction segment, for the house builders and also for the contractors, on various aspects of house construction. Again, not project construction, house construction, from foundation to finish. There are 50 topics, 50, 50 topics. Each one is a 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes kind of a video. Because people later on asked, where can I get the CD and all that. We made a WhatsApp version also. They are also available, about 50 videos. And during the pandemic, I mean, that was made before this, that was made last year. It is available in 14 languages. And again, lakhs of people have downloaded it. These are some of the things that have happened during this pandemic, particularly in the individual house construction.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much.
Thank you, sir. Sir, Gururaj, sir, coming back to the point, your views on collaboration, sub-consultants, etc., digital platform.
Yes. Yeah. See, I think in the civil engineering industry, there is always a collaboration, because if you take any project or any building, there are a lot of agencies which do collaborate. I mean, although it is not as open as what you said about the car industry, it is collaboration. There is a painter, there is a window maker, there is a plumber, there is an electrician. There are different agencies bringing in different elements, and there is a collaboration. But it is not as organized as other sectors like the car industry or some such thing. So collaboration is there. As far as I think, probably the collaboration, what Dr. Ashwath mentioned, collaboration between the big consultants to small consultants, big contractor to small contractors. I think it is a little bit too far-fetched. Maybe I don't think it will happen because of ego problems, etc., etc. So it is very difficult. It cannot happen. I think Mr. Shashidhar would answer on his behalf as a contractor, and some others also will tell. See, but it will happen if it is, in architects, it happens, because I have seen architectural firms, coordinating with the different kind of expertise to make the building happen, or planning can happen. So that happens. But I have not seen happening in our kind of industry, where it is purely a consultancy. So it looks like, I mean, it's a far-fetched idea for me. And maybe Dr. Ashwath may be correct. But yeah, as I see, it doesn't happen. So as far as collaboration in projects are considered, there are plenty of opportunities to do. And we can really think in terms of doing collaboration, which is happening definitely there also. In terms of what we have is a different kind of, say, we did recently a slip forming tower with the core walls. So there was a lot of coordination required. Each and every element, each and everything, coordination is required, and different agency will come. His expertise is used, and then the other agencies will come in. So there is that kind of coordination and collaboration with different agencies to bring a project up. It happens in all the cases, but not as elaborate as or organized as auto industry. And that's probably the view I have got on this subject. As far as the other subject which you said about the impact on human beings, as far as the pandemic is considered, I think it's not. It should not go for a long time, because then there is always a depression. There is always a feeling that okay, this is not the way to live. This is not the way life is going to be, because we are all social beings, and when you are social beings, you want to interact personally with people, personally with everybody around you. So that's going to be, I think, should not stretch too long. That's my opinion.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Shashidhar, any views on collaboration? I know that there are a lot of subcontractors and sub-assembly makers and all that. Your views on the future?
Rather than collaboration, it is subletting is the main thing what is happening now in our industry. And people who are professionals in their specific fields, like waterproofing or joinery, or for example, special concrete flooring. So such people will always collaborate in major projects. But getting a house construction company to join me and work together will be very difficult for me, because his wage structure itself will be so different to what wage structure I follow when I have a strength of nearly 300 people at site, and he has some 15 people at site. So there will be a lot of mismatch. On the contrary, if somebody comes to us, a smaller contractor, I have so many people with me and I am ready to do piece rate work or something, we can always offload and support them. So depending on how committed they are and depending their background, so that help can be done. But this collaboration will definitely happen if we shift major construction activity to factory made, and at site mainly it is erection and some in situ work. Then only this collaboration will happen more effectively, wherein all other agencies like a car industry can supply the tidbits to a major factory for final assembly and we bring it. Suppose the whole toilet block is a prefabricated one, it is brought to site, just lifted and kept there with all piping, everything complete. So such things happen, means then collaboration will be more extensive. But right now in the unorganized sector, to collaborate with smaller contractors is a difficult task.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think that sets the tone for some new entrepreneur or somebody with a new idea, fresh idea, who can probably think and stitch up all these things in the industry. Because currently the best practices from the big guys, big contractors and big consultants is not percolating down to the smaller guys, the smaller houses. Whether it's a technology intervention, whether it is advancement in building methods or efficiency, it is not getting transferred to the smaller houses and whatnot. We are talking about retail sector. Perhaps something may happen. Samuel sir has something to say.
Yeah, this collaboration is a double-edged sword. Dr. Aswath compared it with the automobile industry. And there the automobile industry, the same product is being reproduced several thousands of them. There is a non-disclosure agreement. There is somebody overseeing that the technology doesn't leak to somebody else. And that is not practical in our case. And if I take a job, if I collaborate with somebody, my legal liability is on me. And this guy will do the job and get away. What will happen to, who will bear the legal liability after 15 years? I'm having some cases of projects which you did 40 years ago. So I think, and third thing is, it is quite often, suppose some smaller consultants get associated with a larger one, the smaller consultant will be simply swallowed by the bigger fellows. If there are some good people, they will leave them and join the big companies. So it's a legal problem is there. As Mr. Shashidhar said, wage structures are different. Then they leave the company and join them. There will be within one project there will be friction. Even we ourselves we see, when you're working with a large client, at the end of the project, the client takes away some of our good people. Obviously, the demand will be only for good people, not for the not so good people. So it's a very we have tried a couple of times. And what happens if there is a change? Supposing you have sublet a work to somebody, I have given a bid some span, and some after some time the client says instead of two lane it become 3 lane. That fellow will ask me to pay him double the money earlier, which I cannot afford. So I think I agree with what Mr. Shashidhar said and Mr. Gururaj said. It appears to be quite difficult, and we have tried few times. So one model which you are doing, like we did the Hyderabad International Airport, now we are doing the Delhi Noida International Airport. So there we are making a consortium. So the consortium becomes it's a gathering of people of equal might, and we share the responsibilities. Each one is responsible for his own legal liabilities. So unless and in our country, if I take the job, nobody is going to see whether the job was done by Mr. Madhurkar or like Professor Ashwath. There is something called individual liability and a company liability. So when the company liability is only there, the individual liability is not there. So companies will be very hesitant to do business like this. After all, why should I enlarge my business? See, I am happy with my doing business. If my company is satisfied with 5%, 6% profit which you make, why should I enlarge a business? So it is this is quite a difficult task to do, and legal complications are also a little more difficult.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. See, my question, I want to shift the discussion to a completely new paradigm shift on the topic. See, what I noticed in my own lifetime, we had T-square, we had typewriters, we had, small, huge PCs that we used to do, the drawing boards, etc. All of them in our lifetime, the last 20, 30 years has vanished completely from the face of earth. Okay, today you don't have any typewriter people, or very rarely at least, and no T-squares, etc. AutoCAD has replaced, BIM has replaced, etc. And with that, it has also taken away jobs of thousands of professionals. In a country like India, it has taken away jobs of lakhs of people. Like any disruption that has happened in the last decade, 2 decades that we have seen, what do you think, sir, is the biggest disruption this has brought, the COVID has brought, and how do you think our people, our colleagues, or practicing professionals, everybody in the industry, to take note of and empower themselves in the next, as soon as possible, 1-2 months or whatever short-term horizon, so that they don't get bypassed or sidelined by this epidemic, so that they don't lose track of their careers, they don't lose track of opportunities, or they don't become redundant to the industry. What do you think are the biggest change, and how can they skill themselves up, either lateral skilling, parallel skilling, upskilling, whatever you call it? What do you think, sir? I will start with Dr. Ashwath, because he's a
Okay, I think,
but also at the forefront of our industry,
Shashidhar and Gururaj and Samuel sir, they're already well established and the major players in the industry who can make some impact. They're looking from the aspect of the complications, the legality issues, difficulties, because day to day they have to manage such issues. But coming out of all these issues, if you look at, I think I'm definitely sure in the days to come, definitely this kind of a concept will definitely come in. Maybe somebody who comes in and collaborates all the smaller consultants and become a big player on an organization. Why I'm talking all this is because now, as a project manager, you're also coming to understand. Now, everybody is talking about using digital tools in the construction industry, whether it is artificial intelligence, or whether it is augmented reality, or BIM, whatever we're using already. The concept of artificial intelligence, especially, So these kind of things, when they come in and actively take part in managing the efficiency of any organization, not only construction industry, but all other industries, they're already, to a certain extent, they're already incorporating these tools. But when it comes to civil engineering or construction industry, I know it is very difficult, and completely it cannot take away. But 60% of the operations which are there in the construction industry can be made efficient using these kind of tools. So when we want to use these kind of tools, definitely the collaboration is required with other professionals. But when we do that, and simultaneously, if we plan bringing in together all these small time players, unorganized sectors to a common platform, I think we can see a new kind of a business in the construction industry. And I think the Shashidhar and the other panelists should look in this direction, set up a small unit in their organization and look in this direction, do some R&D, and explore the possibilities for the new business in the industry.
Sir, absolutely. I think one thought process that came to my mind: why don't your college take the initiative and set up an innovation lab? No, I'm not joking. Let him take an innovation lab for our industry. I can be volunteer there. I honestly believe your thoughts are really good, in the sense that there is some time we can spend on each other, on this innovation lab, which is needed in the industry. Innovation, entrepreneurship, skill development. These are things where people like Mr. Shashidhar, Mr. Gururaj, Samuel sir, and so many others, Dr. Ram Prakash, so many others are there, who are so passionate about our industry. This lab, innovation lab for civil engineers or construction industry, perhaps can tinker with these ideas. The tinkering is missing in our industry. Risk-taking ability, the tinkering with ideas, innovation is missing. Perhaps you can do something, sir, on that.
Yeah, definitely. We are very open, and we can start an innovation lab in this direction. And let us see how it shape it up.
Okay, thank you, sir. And I was talking about the T square and how the industry is shaping. What do you think in the near future?
Yeah, I think definitely in the days to come, definitely the impact will be there, and transition will be there. In fact, even the changing the curriculum, removing the basic surveying tools, chain tape, and all those things from the syllabus, and removing the manual drawing itself took lot of opposition, taking out of the syllabus. But finally, we could do away with manual drawing, and we can adapted the AutoCAD tools and these kind of things. I think if we can adapt as early as possible, or the reduce the gap between the present and the change, I think those are the people who can make impact in the industry.
Thank you, sir. Gururaj, sir, your views on what are getting disrupted and employability.
I would say it is not disrupting. Probably you're changing your way of working. For example, earlier you used to work on a typewriter. Now that typewriter is gone and you are gone into some other this thing. So only the professional this thing changes. So for the people who are used to say probably what they were doing, say physical drawing, now they have to go to digitized drawings. So where the knowledge has to be shifted from one aspect of working to the other aspect. So there are no job losses as such. Maybe job, this thing description will be different, and your training has to go into that. That is why, all the time you need some sort of a continuous education, even if you are working, which is not happening in civil engineering field, which is happening in medical field, but not in our field. Because we think that, okay, after graduation, there is nothing else to do. I go on doing the work, what I know, what I've been taught. I think that is the last thing one can think of. And there is no continuity in education of the new things that is happening, new technologies in our own field, and new developments which is taking place in all other countries, which can be adopted and made sustainable in India. So these are things, I mean, which will facilitate for you to be always on the move, rather than being, okay, I'm a site engineer, I have to go to site, count the number of laborers and put my attendance and come back. that is mentality should go. The mentality should be, what can I improve? And for that, he needs some sort of a background, because everybody who comes out of college cannot do that. And it requires some, impetus from the construction industry, including the education industry in this field, to collaborate and give some sort of a, momentum to that. It will help our own industry, our own, fraternity. So this is what is missing, because we are all happy with what we were doing earlier, and we were happy with what we are doing earlier, without thinking what we should do next. And this will help us in understanding that all of us in this field needs to be educated to see what is happening in the world and what can be adopted. That's my
Thank
view.
you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I still remember the blueprint room that you had in your office, sir, where we used to do hundreds of blueprints in a day.
Yeah,
I remember that, and it looks like it's not too long ago, but then it's gone. It's
gone,
permanently banished. So, Mr. Shashidhar, what do you think is the blueprint moment for the industry? What is going to vanish, and what are the skills that our people need to be empowered with to stay relevant?
No, mainly major projects, say above 50 crores. We have to think of only mechanization more and more and factory made more and more. Of course, this housing industry, individual house construction and other activities are still required to the people still available and for their jobs. They have to continue, and that conventional method of construction will remain for some more time. It will not vanish overnight. But for major projects, clients and architects should set a tender or the BOQ or the specifications, thinking this in mind, that labor will not be available, how to speed up, and they should be ready to spend also. And moreover, even our schedule of rates are God old items are there, CPWD, PWD and all. Somebody should change them now, which are not relevant. For example, soling, still we don't get people to do soling today. They should go only for GSB. Such there, like that, there are 100 items. To just give an example. So all this has to change, and it will happen over the next, maybe, as he said, 10 years or 20 years, wherein we can see as they build in New York, the same way here things will happen. Just steel will come from somewhere, concrete will come from somewhere, some 10 people will be there on the tower. So that's
Perhaps Dr. Aswath can take the initiative through his good officers in SEC. Mr. Pasha, please mute. Mr. Pasha. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So, before this, I'm really sorry. I have a meeting in Whitefield at 3 o'clock.
No problems. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Kindly excuse me, Mr. Samuel, Mr. Gururaj, Mr. Aswath. Thank you all today.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for sharing your wonderful views. I think we will take it forward. There's a lot of things that we will be reaching out to you, either through ICI, SECE, or Instruct, to develop these ideas and then prepare our workforce for the future. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shashidhar.
All the best.
You still is not digitalized. You should have your meetings on WebEx.
Sir, it is a meeting between MDs for the final contract signing.
That is also possible, no? Digital signing. Digital signing, you can have it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, all the best.
Thank you.
Sir, I think some of the things, Dr. Aswath, I think through your good officers, you can take it forward for, ICI, SEC, Instruct, and all that, so that we like change of bill of quantities, which we are using a very dated bill of quantities, the contract, conditions of contract, etc. I think there is some room for improvement, as Mr. Shashidhar said.
Yeah, definitely. We will work on this. We have already initiated a working group under ACCE, that construction and methodologies, and that we will discuss.
Check ಮಾಡು ಮೊನ್ನೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿದ್ರು ಅದ್ರಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೂವ ಇಲ್ವಾ?
Organization opportunity for incorporating these things. And as far as education is concerned, as Gururaj sir was mentioning, we have already initiated the change in the curriculum. Many of the curriculum has been already modified with latest requirements and latest things which are happening in the industry. And the All India Council for Technical Education is also very proactive. The Bureau of Indian Standards is very proactive in changing the needs as per the requirements of the industry. And the curriculum is completely revamped, and a lot of, as mentioned by Gururaj sir, the continuous education is very essential. And for that, to facilitate and to teach the skills required for that, there are a lot of self-learning subjects are included, and a lot of guidance will be given for all the students how to find the resources and get trained themselves. So I think shortly you will also find in the industry the fresh engineers who are capable of managing the requirements as and when they come up with new tools. It was happening in the other IT related engineering subjects because the languages that they learn during the education, the computer languages, say whether it is C language or C++ or Fortran, or by the time they come into the industry, some other language will be there. But they're managing, they learn and they manage. Similarly, the civil engineering students are also given a lot of skill training, and they can manage the requirements of the industry as and when they come up with new tools in the industry.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Gururaj sir, your views.
Sir, Mr. Madhukar,
Yes, sir.
can I ask one question to Mr.
You can put it up in the chat box. I will send that so that there is continuity in the flow of thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Gururaj sir.
Mr. Madhukar, can you repeat the question? Sorry.
The question is, the industry. What is next for the industry? Looking at all these, wrapping up of all these lessons and disruptions and all that. What are the biggest lessons the pandemic has taught you, either personally, professionally, so going forward? And also, what do you think, how long is it going to pan out? 3 months, 6 months?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So first of all, I think it is a good lesson for most of us to be, understanding what is life is all about. Because we are all, I think, running from place to place, time without timelines, without this, and working like all the time, not knowing what is the life all about, and it has schooled us all to understand what is life about and how important it is to be safe enough to not to be affected by this kind of COVID and all that. That is the first lesson. And it also brought, I think, a lot of us together as a family. That is also one of the important things which happened, because most of the time we never used to be at home. So this has brought us together closer to the family. Third is, it has put us into a new kind of field wherein we could learn a lot of digital platforms to undertake our jobs, interact, meet, and develop that, very effectively. Fourth is, I think, probably your question about understanding of what is going to happen in future is that I think people will become more cautious to do things at least another 1 to 2 years. I think they will be slow in understanding of what is the future for them. But it is not going to stop at any point of time, because it is like, you have to have your 2 square meals a day, and business has to be there, and it will grow on. And as far as the impact and in terms of doing this kind of work, for each and every individual, it is different. For each and every company, it is different. And it can't be, scaled up and said, okay, this is what is going to happen for everybody. Because individually, if you see, I think there are a lot of projects which has been at least referred during the last 2-3 months. I think the projects are going to come up because they're planning to launch in the next few months. So what I foresee is, yeah, there is a slowdown, yes, but there is no question of stopping as a full stop. It is going to happen. It is only a comma, and the industry is going to move forward. And there are a lot of plus points as far as industry is considered, because with the new industry policies and encouraging the new industries to come to India, we have a lot of opportunities to look for industrial projects. But at the same time, the feedback of the two strikes which we had both in Toyota as well as the other project at Kolar, this one has put a little bit of a black mark on how we Indians, take up the issues with the management or with the whoever is the party, which is not a good sign for people to come and invest, especially in parts like India, in parts of Karnataka. So this has to be looked into from a total perspective. There could be any kind of a misunderstanding or some such thing with the people around, but then there should be a way to resolve it in a different way, which is congenial to both of them or amicable to both of them. But disruptions in terms of strikes, etc., should be a thing of the past, and it is not encouraging at this particular point of time to get the new companies into India if we go on with this. So, and considering what is happening in the north with the farmers, this thing, it is also giving a bad, image for India as far as the investments are concerned. Whatever may be their rights, I'm not the authority on that, but this is giving a negative image for India to focus upon future developments. Those are my views. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Dr. Samuel, Mr. Samuel, your views, closing up remarks, outlook for next 3 to 6 months.
I feel this situation will continue at least for another 3 months. And the industry, in our case, many projects have been stopped. Like I was doing one of the Toyota project. The Toyota has completely given up the project, so they are trying to do something else. And many private sector companies, many of them, their financials are taken a big beating, excepting big people like Adani's and Ambani's. Unless you happen to be doing business with them, anyway, they are in a different. They are a different kettle of fish. So I feel this impact will be having very lasting effect, and so we need to be sympathetic to the issue. But what has happened is, as Mr. Gururaj said, it has made all of us become a little more self-reliant. I used to work with my secretary. Now my secretary is not available. Everything I have to do myself. So I have learned to I have learned to operate computer. I have learned to make PowerPoint presentation. I have everything I have learned to do it myself. So my secretary will lose his job after some time because he may be may not be relevant. We have added a lot of systems so to improve the efficiency, and I also realized that personally for me it has not been bad. See, I was traveling in a 180 to 200 hours of working time in a month. We are spending at least 50, 60 hours traveling. Now that 50, 60 hours traveling has gone, and we have been able to do that everything ourselves more efficiently. As Mr. Gururaj said, that we have been able to have 3 meals a day with your wife and the children. So that's a plus point. And so we have added skills. For example, I used to be when couple of years ago, the late Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Karnanidhi, he learned computer at the 80th year, and when the last 10 years of his life, he used to make all his scripts himself in computer. He never depended on another person to do it. So I said, when Karnanidhi had that ripe age, and he was only a class 12 person, he was not an educated person. So if we could do that, why not people like us? So we have also added this skill. So I'm sure all this will remain in good stead for us. But I'm a little more worried about some segment of people. For example, people who are our trainee engineers. If you look back our own career, you will find that what we have learned in the first few years, 4 or 5 years, is the most important segment of our life. And these young guys who have lost this 1 year and 1.5 years, what will happen to them? They have lost things for good. So that and same thing in middle level people who have been working here, they are not under supervision. Some of them have become lethargic. So those people who do work efficiently, they will, any case, they will do efficiently and they will survive. And those people who are, semi-skilled, half-skilled, who are less committed, I think that segment of people are going to have very, very tough time. So it's a mixed bag. So companies will continue to look for, as an organization. I think let us be very clear that we are not interested in the socio-economic policies of the country. We are interested to make sure we survive. How to make the survival possible for us to next 1, 2, 3 years. At the moment, it looks quite difficult. At the moment, it quite difficult. Our business is down by almost about 30%. Business is down. Our cost has reduced by about 15%. That means there is a net loss of about 15%. So we are all trying to see how to make good, and it has been a big, big challenge. Immediately after this, I am going to be in a board meeting at 1:30. So that this is our topic. So I think this has left a lasting effect on us. I fully agree with Mr. Gururaj what he said. It is going to take more than 2 years before it will become normal. So I don't see our normal happening before 2022. So it might this pandemic itself might last for another 3-4 months. The vaccine coming and things becoming normal, then people today will take less risk than before. So why will you take risk? So that's what is going to happen. So it's as I said before, it's a mixed bag. People have had some people who have added skills themselves, but there's people who have not added skills and who don't have the habit of acquiring knowledge. Like I think Mr. Gururaj only says a medical field. The medical guys keep on learning every time. There's a new drug coming, new investigation methods coming. We keep on adding the skill set. And if we don't do this, so we will be left out. It's a lesson for all of us. And I think we need to encourage our younger people to get into this. And it's like running in a treadmill. Keep running to keep your position. If you don't run, you'll fall down.
Very true, sir. Very true. I think closing remarks from Dr. Aswath, and after that, I think I leave the floor open for questions. Dr. Aswath. And also, I would like to also say here that we are also going live on Facebook, not just on this Zoom platform. People who are on the Facebook can also send in their questions, which Mr. Pasha can moderate. Dr. Aswath, your closing remarks, sir.
Sir, I am very positive, and I'm sure.
I think just a minute. I think Mr. Pasha, can you please mute? Yep.
Ashwath has to unmute it, sir.
Ashwath, sir.
Unmute.
Sir, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm very positive next 3-4 months, whether there is a mutation after mutation, definitely there will be some cure and vaccine will be available. Even if it is not available, definitely we will learn how to survive with COVID also. And definitely the future is definitely very bright, and we will come out more strongly with all these experiences and new learning. And there will be definitely a lot of collaborations in our industry also. And the fresh engineers are also well trained to tackle the issues and risks in the construction industry by the educational institutes. Because many of the educational institutes have already taken a lot of steps to give all the necessary tools for the engineering graduates. In fact, many of us have already initiated in the curriculum reframing and discussions with the educational institutions in different forums, and how to make them more suitable in the industry, because this gap is always there and it will be there. But we will try as much as possible to reduce the gap, and we will definitely, from the engineering institutions, will give more quality engineers to the profession. And it is not like earlier, it is just to go to the classroom, say something, teach and lecture and coming out. We have introduced a lot of experiential learning concepts in the teaching learning methodologies, and there are more of practicals, more of tutorials in the teaching learning, and not only in BIT but across the country under the guidance of All India Council for Technical Education, and more of collaborative learnings within the campuses. A lot of flexible elective subjects are there. Civil engineering students will go and sit in the computer science department for learning some programming language, so that they're exposed and they will be handling tomorrow the digital tools that we are talking about, whether it is artificial intelligence or IoT or any such things. So they will come with these kind of skills, and a lot of workshops are happening, and many competitions are happening. That is the most interesting development in the education sector. The students participate and create a lot of competitions on these new technologies. So when they come to the construction industry tomorrow as a civil engineer, they're not just a civil engineer who knows about civil engineering concepts, but they will also know at least knowledge sufficient enough to collaborate with their computer efficient computer professional or electronics professional. They will have some core knowledge. So looking at all these things, I think the COVID-19 has given some advantages also, and the positives also. And with all this, the industry is going to perform better with more efficiently in the days to come, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. To sum up, I think we have seen the worst, and a very senior source from the cement and steel industry tells me that the production and sales of both cement and steel have reached the post pre-COVID levels of last October, November already. And which means to say in terms of, that can only happen when there is, production going on, work is going on the sites. I think that's a positive note. On that positive note, I think I thank all the panelists for sparing their valuable time, and also ICI for giving this wonderful opportunity. I now throw the floor open for questions from the audience, both from the Zoom platform as well as the Facebook link. Please go ahead and you can ask your questions to the panelists. Thank you.
Zakar sir.
Yes, sir.
Ram Prakash sir.
Ramesh sir, please go ahead.
Chat box. He want to share 5 to 10 minutes presentation now.
No, that is not possible in this thing, because this is a different panel. I have already replied there. We will have a separate program on that. We will make the separate program on that, working around that issue. Any questions from the audience? Because we have just completed 2 hours, which we are supposed to. 90 minutes is what.
From Sukhdev Singh to me in the chat box. I will just take it.
Yes.
Earlier,
yes. Sure.
My question is Sukhdev Singh.
Yeah.
Being educationalist, are we producing the right stuff from our education factory? Because what I feel that more and more skill development workshops need to be organized from top to the down line till and extend the unskilled workers to absorb. So this is the question from Sukhdev Singh. Definitely earlier when you used to say educational institutions have become factories, we used to laugh. And strictly speaking, now the education factory, or you call it as factory or institute or an organization, our main job or objective is to skill the fresh engineers which are required for the industry. So whatever is required, the efforts are on. In fact, due to this COVID, there are a lot of tools available apart from the regular working hours. The students are engaged with by the faculty and giving additional tools required for the industry. A lot of workshops, as you mentioned, are organized by the colleges, and the new concept of accreditation, which was there from last 10 years, but now it is more relevant and more stricter. And all educational institutions undergo the accreditation as per the Washington Accord of a National Board of Accreditation. So they also specify certain minimum standards for all the educational institutions. So they have to perform, otherwise they will perish. So all the institutes are performing and giving all the skills required for the graduates and making them employable in the industry.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your insight. I would now request any more questions from the audience. Any questions before we roll up the program?
So there are no questions. It is already 1:15. I think.
Yeah, sure. I think we ran out of time. I thank all of you, sir, Dr. Aswath, Mr. Gururaj, Mr. Samuel, sir. Merry Christmas to you, sir, by the way. Thank you. And also to Mr. Shashidhar, who spent his valuable time with us, and also all the participants who logged in and attended the webinar, as well as those who attended through the Facebook link. Thank you very much. Thank you, and all the best. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you. And thank you, ICI, for the opportunity.
On behalf of ICI, once again, I thank all the panelists for sharing your valuable knowledge on what next for construction industry. So once again, I thank you, even attendees also. Thank you, one and all, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madhu.